All right, thank you for joining us here at the 2015 American 14-1 Straight Pool Championship at Diamond Billiards in Midlothian, Virginia. We have a great match here for you. Mika Immonen, inducted into the Hall of Fame last year, and Evo Aarts. So I'm here, Darren Frank, with my father, Michael Frank. We're going to commentate this for you. So they're lagging for break right now. Looks like Mika won the lag, so Evo will break, and it'll be a safety break. So
It's been a really exciting week since it started here on Thursday night. In the 50 years that I've been following straight pool, this is by far the strongest field I've seen in any single event.
Yeah, what a great field. It's been really a wonderful event. We want to thank Diamond especially for having us this year and last year, and we look forward to doing it again next year. So it's been really wonderful. All the players really liked it, and Tommy Dorsey and crew have just been great to us. So you have a break in here. 2 balls need to go hit the rail and then come back for it to be a legal break, which he accomplished there with the 2 and the 4. And the goal is to not leave your opponent much of a shot. He's a little bit high. Cue ball off the rail, and Mika has a couple options here.
What do you think he'll take?
Well, I mean, if he hits the 1, he'll go into the stack, but it's a harder shot, so I think it'll depend if he thinks he can make the 4 and then get back to a place where he can hit it. So probably the 4 and come back for the 1.
That's what he's doing, and he makes a terrific shot just with that, drawing it back to the point where he has a wide angle on the 1 ball, so when he pockets it, the cue ball will naturally go into the rack, and now he's on his way.
And there you go.
Nobody knows where this stops, right?
Absolutely. So if you're new to straight pool and you're just joining us, the goal here is for him to pocket all the balls on the table in any order that he would like, getting 1 point for each ball, and then leaving a final ball, the 15th ball, to then pocket and break open the next 14. And that'll be his goal, and he can continue that as long as he can all the way up to 125. And we did just to let you guys know a little bit about what's been going on with the tournament. We did a round robin format. There were 6 brackets. In a round robin format, every player played everybody else in their bracket, and then the top 3 seeds of each bracket advanced to today to single elimination. And we are now on our semifinal round. So we have this match here, Mika and Evo. We have Danny Berruti playing Torsten Homan, Warren Kamiko playing Kevin Clark, and Darren Appleton will play the winner of Dennis Okuyo. And he's playing Dennis Okuyo, that's right. So those are our final matches here. And Mika here clearing out the balls below the break. What do you think he'll leave?
He will leave, I believe, the 8 ball. And he will be looking for a key ball, which is the ball before his break shot, so that he doesn't have to do too much manipulation of the cue ball in order to get in line with the break shot the way he wants it. So from this point, the 8 still looks like his best alternative. And he's thinking about what's called the pattern, and that is how he wants to finish the table here in the order that he wants to finish it. So theoretically, even though you can shoot any ball you want at any time because each ball counts as a point, the expert player is considering the order in which he wants to play these balls in order to give himself a break shot, and the easiest order to pocket the balls in the order that he needs to get to that break shot.
So is he thinking specifically ahead? Does he know the order of each of the 6, or will he play kind of two-way and say, oh, I'll come down here and maybe I'll get on the 11, or maybe I'll get on the 15, or he already knows?
Well, the first shots, so he took the 5 ball there. Somebody of my level may have taken the 7 and the 6 and then cleared that out. But he'll be thinking in terms of where the balls are clustered, because he won't want to go back and forth between clusters. So he's not going to play the 7, for example, and then the 11, and then the 6, and then the 15.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to clear the balls out, and he's probably going to get rid of the 7 and 6 here, and then potentially the ball down table.
Right, he'll go for the 3 and then come back up.
And then the order in which he shoots the next 2 are not quite as important. Of course, Mika Immonen, one of the great straight pull players of any decade. Recently inducted into the Hall of Fame, and three-time World 14.1 champion is certainly got a pattern figured out. So in this instance, I would think he's shooting. He has room for the 16 to pass. He'll come off the rail with a little bit of spin. Now he can just essentially pocket in a straight, leaving the cue ball almost exactly where the 11 is to give himself a nice angle to crush the 8 ball, which I expect he will do, and open up the next rack for continuous shooting.
Any thoughts about what he's going to hit this with, English-wise?
I think he's probably going to use a middle English. Now, it's when my generation played this game, which was a long time ago, for me, the power game was not what the essence of straight pull is. But today, among the younger players, it's entirely possible that he will draw this ball back to the back rail and then straight up the table again. So he did. He stunned it. He did. Yeah, he stunned it, and he hit exactly the ball that he wanted to hit and opened them up in a way that he did.
Mm-hmm.
So that's very advanced play, because in order to get the reaction from the rack the way that he got it, he could only do that by hitting the flush on the corner ball.
Mm-hmm.
So when he positioned his break shot, he knew exactly what he was going to do with the cue ball afterward.
Right, and if you saw him right before he hit the ball, he went over and looked to see exactly where the cue ball would hit the rack after he came off the break shot. Because you'll get a much different reaction if you hit a ball head on like he did than if you go between the balls, which if you see people get stuck in the rack, is often they hit in between a ball with the wrong English and they'll get stuck right in the rack. They won't come off the way he will. Yes.
So in a rack such as this one, there's really very little potential issues, because he actually does have a pocket, even though there's a cluster between, it looks like the 2, 5, 6, 11, and 10. They all actually have a pocket. So once he comes to facing the table, kind of the right-hand side, he can pocket all those balls with no difficulty whatsoever.
Right, and we can, oops, sorry about that.
And he may, if the 9 ball is out of I can't really see the rack there too clearly, but if the 9 ball is out of the rack,
that's
high
definitely
on the rack.
out. Yeah, and that 5 ball goes.
So he will come in here, and then he'll play this cluster out, I think, and get it. He with his pocketing skills, there's really no problem here for somebody at his level of play.
Right, but he doesn't want to run into too many and kind of create another cluster, which I think he maybe bumped that 5 a little more than he wanted. But
so Mika plays with a Mez cue.
Yeah, it's a Mez cue.
And very pretty cue. He's also sponsored by Kamui and by Moose Shoes, which you can find on the internet. They're made in Mika's homeland, which is
Finland.
Finland.
Which I believe one of us is wearing a pair of them right
I'm
now.
wearing a pair of those Moose shoes, and they're the most comfortable shoes I've ever had. They're actually very real leather of extremely high quality, and they're the most comfortable shoes I've ever been in.
Yeah, handmade and designed.
Handmade and designed. I have a wine color. They come in black and a tan color, but they're just wonderful shoes.
Yeah, several of the players really like those, and Kamui being kind of the tip of choice among players, they sponsor a lot of the really top players. Mika.
For chalk.
Right, chalk and tips, and Mika also sponsored by Volturi Cases. He makes really lovely cases.
So here he is pocketing the 5. So we know that the 11 ball will be his break shot. And what he'll do here is stop right where the 9 is, play the 3 in the side, 7 in the side, the 10 in the corner, and he'll leave himself an angle for the 11 ball as his break shot.
And you'll see them, I think, if they can, sort of play stop position, and try.
Yes, not move the cue ball too much.
Right, and you really don't want to do what they call letting go of the cue ball, where you're going to hit it. You won't see them hit a lot of shots unless they really have to, with a ton of spin and go 3 rails, and just because it's a little more uncertain. And what you'll see the difference between these really, really top players and somebody who's just a little below their level is their speed control, and they're putting the ball exactly where they want. He knows where the rack's going to be, and that's the big difference.
So the discussion in pool rooms where the field is as talented as this and deep as this is around patterns and what are the right patterns and how the patterns ought to be played. And I guess I would really subdivide that conversation into two conversations. One conversation about how you get to the essential pattern. And in the last rack, we saw that the essential pattern actually was the 3 ball on the side, the 7 ball on the side, and the 10 ball in the corner. So how Mika actually manipulated to get those 3 balls as his final pattern, really, each player may differ a little in exactly how they come to that. But almost all of them at this level would at least have the 7 ball, which went in the side, and the 10 ball in the corner as the key balls from which to get to the break shot, which was the 11 ball.
So he hit that break shot noticeably softer than he hit the previous. Was that because he was afraid to slide off the rack and scratch, or sort of what would account for the differential in speed there?
The scratch and the fact that he didn't have to
Get the spread
to
in
get
order
the
to
spread.
get it out, right?
Now he knows when he hits something at the speed he hit it that he's going to have to eventually break up another cluster. And the primary difference between pool players of my generation who played straight pool, which was about the short rack games were not as prevalent as they are today in play, is that they left little clusters, so they didn't hit anything too hard. They were very short. They would make the ball and then would maneuver the cue ball in order to break these clusters up. Players today, more often than not, hit very hard. If you watch great players, Mika, probably the foremost player in that regard, is Thorsten Holman, and where they really just position the cue ball, and it's almost, they're such good shot makers that it really doesn't matter too much how far the cue ball is from the object ball. They really hit hard, and they try not to have the subclusters, and that may account for the tremendous runs that you see in the games, because it's all about really splitting them open. Now, fundamentally, when you come to the last 5 or 6 balls, the game's the same no matter who's at the table. You've still got to leave the break shot, and you still got to have a pattern to get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But
and do you think that difference is style, sort of style of the time, or do you think that's equipment?
I think it's equipment, because it's a very good question. Because in say times in the past, the cloth was much slower, and you can know that from everybody sort of talks about the faster the cloth, and the balls, which are made of really a very, very, very durable plastic material, phenylene, I think it is. They take the English perfectly, and they don't get marked or dented, or as they in the older times you played with ivory balls, and if they were plastic balls, they were certainly not of the same level of durability as these kind of balls, and the cloth was a much heavier wool nap cloth, and the consequence of that was you really couldn't slam things around,
right?
Because you didn't have the accuracy, and they didn't spread anyway in the same way that today's equipment does. And what I'm saying, I think, can be demonstrated by the fact that cues have gotten lighter and longer, and the weight is distributed much differently in today's cues than it was a while ago. In days when the cloth was heavier and the balls were slower, primarily the butts were much heavier in cues, and the average length was 57 inches. Now the average length is 58 inches, and the cues are much more streamlined than they were, and I really do believe that that's the equipment difference.
Yeah, because most players play now with around a 19-ounce would be about the average.
That's
probably
about the average.
Probably in the olden times it was more like 21, 22 even. So if you notice what he did there, a few balls ago he did not have a break shot, so he actually ran into that 2 ball, from the left-hand side of the table as we're viewing it, so that he could bump it over there a little bit out of the rack there where the 6 ball is into a break shot. So now what he has to do is make this ball and get on such an angle that he can go around the 2 with high English quite perfectly,
yeah.
obviously, because he's Mika Immonen. And he's on a run here of 42 balls. Oh. Alright, so Mika just making sure these are frozen so he gets the best transference of energy here and spreads them out nicely. How'd you like that shot where he just jacked up off the back rail and drilled that ball in?
Yes. I mean, well, they've been playing for several days now, so
it's unreal.
So they're the people who are now down in the final 8 have come through a really tough field, and they are playing good pool.
Right.
So the shots earlier in the tournament, they get a little wobbly. Now they pretty much just jack up and fire them in because they're loose. And the people who've made it this far in the tournament are generally the ones who can withstand the pressure of a tournament and the kind of competition that we saw here since Thursday.
Right, and it's one thing to kind of make that shot, just playing around. It's another thing to make it under pressure on a tight table on the stream here, playing one of the best in the world.
Right.
So Mika certainly has been in situations like this enough that I don't think he rattles much anymore.
No, I don't think you can win the titles that he has without being able to withstand.
You get in the Hall of Fame if your hands start shaking.
Right, exactly. Yeah. The heat in the kitchen here is something he's used to.
So Mika just deciding, I think, kind of how he's going to get over and get into that cluster there. A little 5-2, 5-1. Is that the 14 ball?
Yeah. So he has to have on his mind 3 things: the 9 ball, which he's going to go after right now.
Right.
The 6 ball, because it's on the opposite rail and it's not anything around it except the 3, which he's going to have to probably use to get to it. And the 1 ball, I believe, it's the 1 ball. It's clustered there at the top of in the middle of the rack. So he's got to get that open before he can, worry too much about his run. So he's going to go after those balls kind of early because they don't like to wait until the end and then have to be concerned with how am I going to get to it. They're going to get to it as soon as they can get to it, and that's one tip that anybody trying to improve their game can learn. Get your problems out of the way early.
And unfortunately, he didn't get into them very well, and the one might go in the side.
Yeah, he may have the one in the side. That's a tough shot.
Yeah, it looks like he can.
But he does have it. He does have the shot.
It also might look like the 5 goes up table, but that's hard too.
So here,
yeah, see,
that was a very difficult shot.
Those are really tough.
I am a little surprised he shot it that fast because that was not an easy shot. But in any event, as is the nature of pool,
yeah, but I mean,
now he gets to sit down and see what his opponent can do.
But Eva's been sitting there the entire time we've been doing the stream, and Mika's been running 50 balls, so not exactly easy to get up and and catch up there. But he's a pro, so he shoots that 6 up table.
Fires the first one in with no problem. And
just going to go up table and come back down here and try and clear the rest of these out. What's he going to leave here? Do you think he'll try and bump or leave the 12 ball there?
I think he's going to try to bump.
I think both the 14 and the 5 are in the rack there.
He's going to pocket here the 12. And now he's going to play the 14 and bump the 5 across, hoping to leave it just an inch or two to the side of the rack, which he does in really expert fashion. I mean, he couldn't have left that any better.
Perfect.
So now his issue is he's got to shoot the 3, run the cue ball down to the rail, bring it back on an angle. And if you'll notice, it's coming back on an angle to the 1 so that he can pocket the 1, and the cue ball's natural movement will be towards 5.
All right, so we're getting situated in the booth here, but a nice break shot there. Still left a bit of a cluster in the middle of the table, but mostly now about what he can use to get into them and break the rest out.
Well, what makes this tough is he almost has to go in here because he doesn't have anything but the 13 after that. So,
Right.
So that's a risky shot for exactly the reason you see it.
Because if you get stuck in the
He's
rack
stuck,
like that,
right.
then you know.
And if he hits it too hard, he's not a favorite to make the shot. So
Right.
he has to judge the speed against the chances of getting stuck. So he's got a little bit of a problem here. And he doesn't have too many ways to play safe here.
He maybe
So
can
he's
cut
going
the
to have to
7.
shoot. That's what he's going to shoot. He's going to shoot the 7. And my guess would be he's going to bring the cue ball back into the rack.
Yeah, but not an easy shot by any means.
Because he can run, but it goes up and down with
Very
it. So
nice
very
with
good
the
shot.
bridge there.
Yeah, very good shot.
I know a lot of us don't love the bridge, but I mean, there it is, saving a run.
Well, it is an essential part of the game. So, we have in the young Mr. Ivo Aarts from Sittard, Netherlands.
Yeah,
A
he's coming
very
to-
composed young player.
Yeah, he's only 22.
22 years old and obviously able to withstand great pressure and pocket balls in a flawless manner.
You may have to. Just take your headset off and I'll fish it all. No, it's okay.
So here he goes. Excellent. Thank you.
Switcher up here. You can't use 3, but you can use the 2. All right, so you can either leave here the 8 or the 9.
I'm thinking it's going to be the 9, but I may not be
Maybe
right.
not
So
after
from
that
here,
shot, yeah.
he's going to go 9, then the ball on the rail, which I think is 12,
Mm-hmm.
and then the 2, and then he'll leave the 8 as his break shot. So he'll just come up a little. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. So another way to think about in preview your game, if you notice the players at this level will always take the longer shot if it has the right angle than the shorter shot if it doesn't have the angle they need. So here he has come through that particular pattern in a fashion that's left him a perfect shot on the 8 ball to break the rack and continue his run. So Mr. Aarts is here today, thanks to his sponsors, McDermott Cues and Top Sport Lindbergh.
All right, he's going to get down. Looks like he's, just a little bit of draw there to kind of hold the cue ball. But obviously got into them really nicely, got a nice spread.
Broke those balls with what I would call hidden force. Which is, he really had a lot of follow through on that ball. And had he not gotten that little bit of a roll, everything would have been open, which is exactly what these players think about first. So I think the way that patterns are planned is get the balls open and then figure out the order in which you want to get them off the table.
Mm-hmm. But he does seem to be doing a couple of things. I mean, coming to the rail here and trying to get rid of the balls on the rail. That's always really important sort of early in the rack because sometimes those can be really hard to get to and then get off of if you kind of get the wrong angle or get out of line. Because if a ball's in the middle of the table, you have more choices as to where the ball can go. But if it's stuck on the rail, you're really only going to shoot it either all the way up or all the way down. And so, you kind of need to just get rid of them relatively quickly. So kind of the balls around the outside and then the lower balls will try and go first.
Well, I think that's a really good point, because the essential part of that point is there's a vast difference between leaving difficult shots and leaving shots that can't go.
Mm-hmm.
So they always want to make sure, even if they have to leave a difficult shot, that they're opening up the shots that can't go, so that they can continue a run. So they're not going to make the amateur's mistake of playing into late in the rack and then saying, "Oh my goodness, there's no way I can break up the cluster that's on the table."
Right, right. And it's actually, I mean, unless he's planning to play the combination, which still you would think he would want to get out of there early. It's a little surprising he's leaving the
Yes,
10
well,
and
he's
the
having
15.
difficulty
And he's
getting,
trying, yeah, right.
because he had other problems that he had to get rid of. So he may come down the rail here and bump them.
Right, but he's just
And,
going to.
and
Right,
there he is. So he's now open. He has the 12, and I think that's the 12.
10, I think.
The
I think
10.
That's a 10, yeah.
So he has a 10 in his side, and then. But here, his difficulty is what?
I can't see where the 5 is. He doesn't really have a great break ball.
No, he doesn't. But he may have to.
Yeah, I mean, the 5 is a little low. And here he's going to try and hit him. Is he trying to hit him again?
No, I think he might be playing a No, he hit perfect shot. Actually, that's a really perfect shot. So he came up just enough to get the top ball off.
And then he can go ahead and cut the 15
Now,
in
there is
here.
a break shot here you don't see very often. He may play it, which is to come across, shoot the 5. No, he's not going to do that. He come across, shoot the 5, and then play the 10 ball in the corner. Just draw the cue ball a little bit back, and you have a side pocket break shot.
Oh,
You seldom
interesting, yeah.
you seldom see those in today's players. I mean, the variety of break shots in some ways has disappeared with the ability to break the balls all over the table when they execute a break shot.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I actually like, in a sense, the pattern I picked, because there would have been a break shot, and it would have been a good break shot.
And he might be relatively straight on the 5 here. I don't know what he sees. Jacking up, he's going to
Well,
draw
he may,
this ball.
He may end up with.
He may come back for a side pocket break.
Okay, so.
But he's going to have to go up table and draw this into the stack.
Yeah, yes. It's a question of whether he'll play safe, because he could follow forward and put the cue ball in the back rail. But he's lost his ability here for a powerful.
Right, anyway he plays this, he's probably not going to get great separation of the,
rack,
balls.
Right.
Yeah.
And even if he can draw it into the rack, he runs the risk of a scratch.
And you can, in straight pull, you have the option to call safe, pocket the ball, and that ball will get spotted, and then your opponent will get a shot. And see, he misjudged that a little bit, and as a result got no separation. So had he called safe, it would be Mika's shot here with a frozen rack, which is difficult. So there, he just pushed right into the stack, playing safe.
So he's, of course, unhappy to be sitting down, because in this game you
you never want to give up the table, right? Especially if you're playing Mika Immonen, right? I mean, I think that's a lot of the pressure here is because it can be continuous and there's not the same break as there is, in a game of 9-ball or something like that, where the opponent's going to have to break and there's going to be a chance that they won't make a ball or something like that, and you'll get back to the table. In this, you just might not get up again. I mean, I'm going to say it's easy for these guys to just run out, but it's, not out of the realm of possibility at any time that he would just get up and run out.
So neither of them have a shot, so they're playing safe. Now, both of them took what's called an intentional foul, so they both have minus. Now, Mika, look how good this shot is, I think. No?
It's tricky. He might
no,
be
he didn't.
left
He actually
the 6
left
there.
the 6 ball. So he was trying to bring that back and freeze it into the...
Oh, he's looking at it. I don't know how well he can see it.
He may have brought it back. We don't know yet.
And he was trying to freeze him. He was trying to go a little bit higher on that 8 ball on the other side and just make sure he didn't leave him the 6. But he couldn't take any more fouls, because in straight pool, if you take 3 fouls, you get -1 for each foul. And then you get -15 for taking 3 in a row. And so obviously you want to avoid that, 'cause it's a big penalty. So he actually tried to bank that ball. Oh, wow.
Did, yeah.
Not tried to.
He executed.
He did.
So, at this level, rather than give up the table, you will see quite a bit of giving up the 18 balls. The 3 you lose for the consecutive fouls, and the 15 you lose for the penalty. And then the person who loses the 18 is then forced to break the balls in a legal manner. So you start all over again. But these players are so capable of running so many balls that is indicated at times they will really give up the 18.
Because it's not that big of a deal for them, right?
Because running another rack
Whereas
is not the end of the world for them.
Right. Whereas for me, anytime I can run a single rack, I'm like ecstatically happy. So he kind of got on the wrong side of the 15
ball,
there, unless he has a dead ball. It's hard to see from this angle whether or not that is dead. And these shots are risky because he has to make really sure that that ball is dead because he's going to scatter the rack. And if he scatters it and misses it,
he's going to nail this. So he was confident. Now, if you're asking yourself, well, why didn't he really hit that hard? There was a separation between the two balls, and whenever that's the case, you have to be careful about the transference of English. So that's why he had to hit it so that the spin would take on the cue ball. And then when it hits the first object ball, the spin reverses and it throws the actual object ball in the opposite direction of the first ball. So if you don't hit it so that the spin takes, then it's not going to do anything but go into the rail.
Ooh, and that was a great shot. He didn't have any easy shots right there, though.
He got a good roll out of it
cut,
because the 5 came over, and it'll allow him to continue his run.
And actually, the 11 kind of rolled into position there, and he could just leave that for a break ball.
So I suspect that here we're not going to see anything but a little tap. Then he'll tap the 14 in.
And he's probably going to try and get rid of the 2 as soon as he can so he can shoot the 9 ball down here unless that, is a dead combo on the 5. 4, sorry.
I can't see if that... Is the 4 dead?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's either going to have to shoot this 2 and come around and shoot the 9.
Okay.
I guess not, because he went and hit it, yeah. And the rule is kind of if you don't have to hit a ball, don't hit it, or bump into him that way, because it's a little unpredictable where they're going to go. You can, the better you are, the more you can tell where it's going to go, but it's not always entirely obvious exactly where it's going to end up. So it must not have gone, or he wouldn't have run into it like that. But it worked out for him. He can come over here for the 4 ball and then the 1 ball.
So at this point, going from memory, because I don't have a board in front of me, we do have left in the tournament Darren Appleton, who's playing Dennis Orcalo. We have Thorsten Holman. We have Mika Immonen, of course, and Ivo Aarts, the match that we're watching.
Yeah, we also have Warren Kamiko.
We have Warren Kamiko.
Danny Baruti playing Torsten Homan. And
Danny Baruti.
Chris Clark.
And, no, I think... Yeah, and Chris Clark, you're right, yes, because he beat Johnny Archer.
Right. Playing Warren Kamiko.
Maybe we can give a recap of some of the scores here.
All right, we'll see if we can find them here. And if you see just a little bit at sort of the bottom corners of that, it's 30 to 49 in favor of Mika. And Ivo coming back to the table here.
So he has, this shot is a scratch shot in the corner if you let the cue ball run with just rolling our natural English. So I think we're going to see him have some form of a draw. He will not go forward with the shot if it has the angle that I think it has.
It does look like he's cueing low on the ball.
Yeah,
right, so he drew it off the side there.
To avoid a scratch, and he got a bad bump. But he does have a shot on the 1 ball, and quite honestly, at this level of play, I would expect him to pocket that shot with little or no difficulty.
Right, I mean, just being off the rail like that obviously makes it harder, but and he'll probably just try and roll up towards the side pocket there.
Yes.
That'll leave him
Yes.
plenty
He's
of
not
shots.
going to do anything fancy. He's going
Right,
to just
I mean,
pocket
just
the
pocket
ball,
the ball
and he
and
missed
see
it.
there he missed it, yeah.
Ooh. Well, I
Yeah,
guess
see him-
everybody gets a table roll now and then,
Yeah,
right?
see him raise his hand like that. He
Yeah.
thought he missed it too.
Yes, he hit that ball
Right.
fairly far off, but he hit
Right.
it.
And you
He
tend
hit it
to.
with what's called often pocket speed, so that
Mhm.
he gets the roll of the table and you can get a break.
Right. Had he hit
So-
that ball harder, it would have just bounced right out. And it's also the reason when they aim those shots, they'll often aim to undercut them a little bit. Because, just like you saw, I mean, he hit that ball a diamond and a half off, and it still went in the pocket because of the speed. But had he, aimed to hit it dead or overcut it a little bit, and
Or
it
hit it
hits,
harder.
right? I mean,
He
there's
has
no chance
of making it.
right.
So you're
So I think that's a good lesson too. It's like when you're aiming that shot, err on the side of undercutting it slightly because you have more margin of error on the side of undercutting than overcutting. And so here he just has to deal with this little 3-ball cluster, and it looks like the 6 goes. That's what he's looking at right now, and I suppose it does. He's got to get that. There you go. It's just going to pop out. And see if the 4 goes. He may want to get rid of that, or he can shoot the 3. But the 12 ball is lying pretty nice there for a break ball.
yes.
So what's the logic here between just not clearing the 10 off? Because to me, I want to get that ball out of there. So why do they leave that as kind of in?
Well, I think in this instance, he really, if he shoots the 3 and he stops the cue, he's got a straight in shot on the ball. So he bumps the ball, which is a very advanced maneuver. I really wasn't thinking that was the plan of attack, but he now has everything exactly where he wants it. And it may be that ball is actually in the rack and he has to touch it.
Oh, yeah, there he goes. Bumps it a little bit.
So all of that was manufactured in order to get the cue ball in a position to bump that 12 ball. And when a player plays at that level, you're seeing the best in the world. That shot's an indicator right there.
Mm-hmm.
You can play with anybody at any time.
And here he's just walking around the table to take a look at where he wants
Yes.
to leave the cue ball.
That's world-class play.
Gonna-
Bumping 2 balls to get to a ball, an angle on a ball that you can then bump the break shot out.
Right, and that was a great out, and he came back here, and he'll have a nice break shot.
So if an individual's unfamiliar with straight pull or 14.1, the artistry and difficulty of the game is really represented in what he just did.
And here's Mika to adjust the score, and it is going to be 62 to 48. Whoa.
All right,
So
comes
he
out of
managed
that.
to keep that ball out of there, and then. So do you think he'll shoot that 1 and try and run into those, or?
I think he's going to open the rack
Mm-hmm.
because he can open the rack here, and there's very little chance he's going to get in trouble because the way the balls were positioned, he's pretty much guaranteed to have a shot on the ball, and he just shot.
Mm-hmm.
So they call that leaving a safety ball when you go into a cluster of balls. So make sure that you have a shot. There we go. Everything is now open, so we're going to pretty soon see himself reduced to this what I would call the essential pattern.
The last few balls before the break ball.
Well, I think it can come at different times depending on what's open.
Mm-hmm.
So right now he can he really can play in that area at the head of the table, and now he sort of has to do something because
Right. I mean, he made that more
he's
difficult
created a
for
problem.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah, but not well. He's open on this. If he gets to the right side of the table, he's open in all those shots. So
Right.
he's not worried at this point about anything.
Right. But
But
you would
he-
prefer not to bump a ball like that. I mean, and kind of create another problem. It was a little easier the way it was laying before.
Well, it will be
So he's gonna
interesting to see what he does here.
It was interesting. I thought he would leave the 7. I mean, that was a pretty well positioned
so now
break.
he's going to
But
leave. At the moment, we feel he has plans for the 11 ball. So
right.
it's
If
11
the 6
ball
goes, he's going to go ahead and shoot that. Yeah.
So he just draws back.
Right.
And now he shoots the
9.
9. And he may draw back. He may draw back for the 3.
So now I think he has to go down table for the 8.
Yes, he really is. The only reason he doesn't pocket is because he's not sure he's going to have a shot running down table, so he has to leave the 3 because he doesn't want to shoot the 11 at any time because that's his
Right.
break shot. What does that mean? And you can hear in the background modern day technology, which
It's
does not
neither one
belong
of
to the commentators.
Neither one of our phones. Sorry
Right.
about that, folks. Alright, so you're just going to come back here a little bit and then.
Ooh, the drop.
Couple good rolls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Couple good rolls.
So
So
we
here, if I
go.
take off the 3 ball, right, and then come back over with the.
Well, he'll leave it. I believe he'll leave the 10 for the break.
Over the 11.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Probably come over to the rail and give himself a nice
Yeah,
angle to
'cause
go
all he has
into
to do
him.
is
Yeah.
draw.
Mm.
It's a straight draw shot. And a lot of players like to come below. He does leave the 10, but he comes below the side pocket, which was the point I was going to make. And the reason they draw the cue ball below the side pocket is because they don't have to stretch to reach the cue ball.
Mm-hmm.
So most players, if it's above the side pocket, the break shot would be a stretch. The advanced players come below the side pocket so that they don't have to stretch, even though the shot is a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. So can he, because this could be a scratch too if he hits it wrong, could he follow this through down to the, force it through down to the bottom rail, or is he going to hit this with low also?
I probably wouldn't take that chance. I think he's going to draw it and hit it pretty much the way he hit the one that before where he comes. Yeah, so he's here. He just has to get a couple balls open and hope he gets another break shot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the 6, he may be able to go into him off the 6 if he has enough angle right now, which looks like he does.
Yeah, he can hit. He can hit.
We'll see. I mean, he doesn't have that.
Yeah, so he can hit pretty hard.
Right.
So he got lucky
nice
in
roll
a
on the
sense.
14
a nice roll,
there,
they
yeah.
say. Yeah, I would say that was a nice roll.
But he still needs to go into them again or
Well,
something
he may
else.
have
So.
that. I can't see that ball looks pretty good to me, but
Oh, the 14 there?
the 13.
13, sorry.
Yeah. So we'll know if he goes around the pattern instead of hitting it here. And the reason he can hit it here is, okay, so he's going around it. So he's not really too worried at this moment. So I have a sense that ball probably is good.
Fair. I don't know if he got exactly where he wanted there. He might have
No.
actually wanted to get into the 2 and then, because if you were to be a few inches closer to the camera with the cue ball, he could just shoot that 2 with a little bit of follow, go right into the 5 ball, and he would get really nice separation off of that. So now he's gonna get rid of this 10 ball here.
Well, the option he had was to, regardless of whether or not that ball opens or he opens the rack this way, would have been to come back and, when I think it was a 10 ball that he shot, but when he went behind the 2 ball and shot the 1 instead of coming back and running into the 9.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I like the 9 running into the 9 there was he opens the rack and he has to have a shot on the ball he just shot.
Mm-hmm.
So he really had no risk in doing it that way, and his cluster, I think, would have been in better shape than it is now.
Right, and as a result of trying to get rid of that
Finesse
problem there
too
with the 9
much,
and the
yeah.
8, he created another small problem for himself.
Yes. So
I mean, I think both those balls go in the corner, though, at least. Yeah, pretty easily. Just get rid of the 5.
Well, here's the issue here. No matter what he does on the next 2 or 3 shots, he's going to have to use some form of English or stun or hit the ball a little harder than he might want to. And that's when you get in trouble.
Absolutely.
So he's
and jacked up like this.
He's got a difficult
long
shot.
bridge.
He's got to hit it to get the angle. He's got to
He hit that well.
unless he hits the 9 in a.
Really well.
He's going to have to do something with the cue
well,
ball here, or he's going to have to 9 hard and pull the cue ball off the rail. He doesn't have a great angle. He can take the difficult shot, which is the 8 ball. Is it the 8 ball on the center table?
Yeah, he might be able to shoot the 9 and just kind of leave it there and shoot the 7. I think that goes.
See?
Yeah. He tried to pull it off the rail like that. And he did try to leave it there for the 7, I think. Because, I mean,
he didn't get there either. So,
right.
in a sense, he got very lucky.
Right.
He didn't do what he wanted, but the point's the same. Out of angle on one shot, difficulty on the next, and disaster is in the shadows.
Right, so Mika here, I think, just looking to see if the 7 goes and what's going to happen if he shoots that ball. He could also cut the 14 up, or sorry, cut the 4 into the side. But it looks like the 7 ball goes okay. So they're just following that down a little bit. And because of where the 8 and the 3 are, he can't leave the 5 ball, which would otherwise be a pretty good break. Do you think he'll just leave the 8 ball then? Will that be his plan?
I don't see where he has much choice but to leave the 8 or the 3, do you?
I mean, he could leave the 9, but it's a little low in the ball. I don't think he's going to leave it.
I would say it's probably going to be, my guess would be it's probably going to be the 3 ball that he leaves.
I think just shoot the 9 here, pocket the 4 on the side.
Yes, exactly. So that's his key pattern here is the 9-4, and remains to be seen. But thank you. I suspect that it will be the 9-4-8, leaving the 3.
Right, and he'll just go to the side rail there and then come back out to the center table here. Right. And he'll more or less want to be.
And he'll go below the side pocket.
I'll just draw straight back
close,
there. He doesn't have much angle, so he's more or less in line with the 3 here, and he can just go ahead.
So you see here again, rather than maneuver the cue ball to have a slightly better angle to pocket it, he's not worried about the difficulty of the shot.
Yes, for him it's not a difficult shot. Yeah.
Which is a wonderful luxury to have when you play pool.
It's
not one I ever had. So the consequence of that is you have to manipulate the cue ball a lot more than somebody his level. Now my guess is he will hit this pretty much full. And
so 83-55 is our score here. So he's just going to... And he didn't have to hit that very hard.
No, he opened nicely, yeah.
Because... Well, I mean,
he had a perfect angle for it.
He had a perfect angle, and honestly, if he would have... Because he was hitting it with follow, if he would have hit it really hard...
He might have scratched.
He might have scratched, and he might have actually sort of bounced off. Because when you hit a ball really hard before the English takes, the ball will bounce off the object ball. So he could have actually gone all the way around the rack and not hit it had he hit it too hard. Just another example of speed being really important there. Because he wanted the English to take right away and just take him right into the stack because of the angle. But, obviously he got great separation here and just those 3 balls in the middle of the table, but he has plenty of ways to get into them, so I don't think it's going to be any kind of problem for Mika here. And he's looking to see if that ball just goes, because obviously that's preferable to breaking them out, but he's going to take that first.
So now we have... all right, so here's... I think he'll just go straight across the table. Now he put his arms up, so he may have been hoping to graze those 3 balls in the center the way he put his arms up, but I can't be sure of that.
All right, I think he might try and hit him right now to draw off this ball from the 4, yeah. Oh no, he's coming down here. Ooh, Mika, to
so now
take care of this little cluster, yeah.
his This is interesting because I think I probably would have played to hit those balls with the 15 ball.
Mm. Mm.
He could have gone straight back from the rail to the 3 cluster, and he would have had shots on either the 2 balls that are near the 15 ball on the top rail.
So he's going to go ahead and get this out of the way here.
So he's going to hit it dead center and continue his run.
And I think actually he just played that ball so he can slightly better line for the
So
combo.
I guess what we didn't know was there was a dead ball in that little threesome,
Right,
right?
and he looked at that a few times just
Yeah.
to make sure. Because obviously those are always a little bit risky, but, you know.
Ooh. The cliffhanger. I guess everybody gets one, right?
Right, absolutely.
Oh, my.
He deserved one after
Yeah.
Evo got a few, but, you know, that's the thing. I've heard people say, like, oh, he got a lot of rolls. You know, everybody gets rolls. You know, it happens. It's just part of the game. So you play long enough, you'll get as many as anybody else. It's really not worth thinking about.
No, we hit that. The reason it came close is not a question of nerves or anything in that sort of this level, or at least I don't see evidence of that. I think it is the fact that you have to put so much spin on it to get where you wanted to go, that you have to compensate for where the pocket is. And as we all know, game is a pull of fractions of an inch.
Yeah, and it gets tricky, you know, when you're trying to hit a ball with a lot of English. Not necessarily draw or follow, but just side spin one way or the other. I mean, it not only changes the trajectory of the ball after, changes the trajectory of the object ball when the spin of the cue ball imparts to the object ball, but then it actually changes the trajectory of the cue ball if it's far enough away from the object ball. So you have to account for all these different things. And obviously, like low deflection shafts. And he is playing with a low deflection shaft, but something like that or anything else low deflection will help for that. So he gets out here pretty easy for Mika.
Yes, he does, and he has a lefty angle that he likes.
Aha, and we have a score update, very
There we
timely,
go.
from Andy Lincoln, our wonderful tournament committee here. So Darren Appleton and Dennis Okuyo. Dennis leads 72-54. Torsten Homan and Danny Berruti. Torsten leads 66-12. And Warren Kamiko leads Clark 127-26.
Wow.
There's a score update here, and
So we have tight matches and runaways.
and in this match, Evo
so
leads
these matches are
Mika
to 150.
83-69, but Mika's at the table, which, you know, it's kind of one of these games where technically Evo's ahead, but since Mika's at the table, that makes him the favorite.
So
So Mika here getting
150
into this
matches.
next.
So we were at 150 in this part of
Oh.
the tournament.
Right, so our stream there reads 125. We're going to 150.
So Mika will not like that. He bumped the ball and did not get a shot. On the other hand, he left himself a pretty makeable combination, which I think he's going to have to play.
Well, he can shoot that. He could shoot the 15 if he doesn't like the combination for whatever reason. You know, at this point, Mika's just sort of playing the percentages, and he's just going to look at either of those balls and, you know, which one he's more likely to make. And that's
here,
the
though,
first consideration for
and
anything.
he's going to play to win the match, and
Well,
he can open the
absolutely,
rack up
right.
there.
Right.
So he's what is it? You know, he's playing to win. I mean, he's a great champion, and he's not going to get there faint-hearted. So if he has a chance to take the harder shot and open the rack and keep going, he's going to do it.
No, absolutely, absolutely. But if he's looking at two shots of sort of equal utility,
Yes, then he's
going to play his sort of percentages, and
yes, exactly.
and that can be totally subjective, you know, and like which direction you cut a ball or whichever can be totally subjective, even to them.
Go right through them here.
And jacked up like that, that is not an easy ball.
Yeah,
He really hit that great.
I think.
And he could shoot the 5 into the 1
I think
here,
he might.
which would kind of break up his pattern, but may push the 6 over in the way.
Yeah,
so it'd be,
that's a good, yeah, he's going to do that.
you know,
for sure.
I think that is kind of what he's going to shoot.
Oh, he can see the
He can
one.
see the 1. Yeah, okay.
It makes life better.
Our alternate camera angle here. So he's going to come back down.
Stop. Yeah, he's in good shape now.
Yeah, so he just sort of played to get right back to the center table there, which, a lot of times in straight pool is sort of a wonderful default if you don't know exactly where. You could just get right back to the center table, and you have enough balls on the table, you'll have a shot at something. So he's looking here at the side. I don't think he likes that 9 ball. Maybe he does. He's got to get him out of the way. Perfect.
Perfect shot.
So now maybe the
I think he has to take 15 here.
yeah, it doesn't look. Does it look to you like that 5 ball goes?
No, but it's 13 goes. So which makes it so that he almost has to take this 15 ball, whether he wants it or likes it or not. He just, I think, is going to pretty much.
Right, so he's just trying there to get perfect line for the 13. Because I think if he hits that, he can bump the 5 over a little bit and have a nice break shot.
Yeah, so he's I think from here looking at the 3 ball.
I don't think that 5 went quite as far as he liked.
So he's going to get rid of the 11. He's going to leave the 3. He's not going to be doing any more bumping here. And now that you see that ball hit the pocket and sort of dropped, they're actually playing the pocket. So he knows what he's going to get in terms of how much that pocket is going to give him.
Right,
and
absolutely.
he can then use that pocket to his advantage for angling the position on the next ball that he wants to get.
Mm-hmm.
So as the match progresses, or as the players adjust to a new table or new equipment, they quickly at this level begin to see what the table will give them, and then they use it to their advantage for both shot selection and for pocketing.
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, to me, I just am trying to make the ball, but
Yeah.
then they're trying to make it in a certain part of the pocket,
Yes.
and
Yeah. Well, he knows he can run balls at certain rails, and
absolutely.
if he needs to do that, he can really manufacture 3 or 4 or 5 inches out of it of position that he wouldn't normally have if the table wasn't giving that shot away.
Absolutely.
So he calculates all that and continues his run.
Right, and so here he's just, we'll take the 10 and.
Yeah, I don't think he'll hit that ball. He'll come.
No, he's trying to come back up and shoot in the side, and he got pretty much perfect on that.
So now he'll come down with the cue ball and come back behind the 3 ball on the far right rail to give himself the break shot that he wants for the. So he runs. Look at this. Look how pretty that English is.
Oh man.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Couldn't have put it there with your hand.
Yeah, I mean that speed is just really amazing, and how he can go all those rails up and down the table. It's interesting because I think just from a passive viewing perspective, that doesn't look like that hard of a shot, but that's a really hard shot. I mean, to get it exactly where you want it like that is very difficult. Very few players anywhere can do that consistently, and that's really what separates. And, so you see here, Mika's tied it up, 83-83, back at the table. See a break shot from the other angle here. See what he hits this ball with.
So at the pace they're playing, we're about halfway through the match and 150 points, unless somebody catches fire and just runs out. So there we go. He fires away.
Yep, just a little bit of high English there. Just come straight down to the top rail and then back out for a shot. And paid off. He's got quite a few shots here. So
now I'm sort of noticing that regardless of how hard they're hitting the balls, they're not opening as widely as we've seen on some of the other matches.
And that could be a factor of the equipment.
It could be the humidity. It could be lots of factors. It's how much the table's been played on and so forth. So they will adapt their games to that. And probably you'll see less slamming into the rack and more subtle play. But you may also see longer runs as they adjust to those differences.
Right. And often in tournaments like this, when you have a TV table and then you have sort of extra lighting and things, so that, for the camera and everything, it actually changes the conditions. The TV table will play a little bit different than the other tables, and I guess one of the things people don't think about as much when it comes to these guys is their ability to just on the fly adapt to that different condition. They really are masterful at reading the table, reading the conditions, understanding what it's doing to the balls, and then changing their game to optimize for that.
Well, and the other difference, of course, is this is one of the two diamond tables being used in the tournament.
Right. We are otherwise playing on Brunswick.
The other 10 are Brunswick tables. So they're already making an adjustment because the TV table is a diamond. And
just by nature plays different.
Just by nature, the angles of the pockets are slightly different and so forth.
The rails will play slightly different. Even the slate itself, the balls will roll slightly differently on this. And it really forces them to be good at that. So we're just taking a momentary break here, about halfway. All right, so Mika back at the table here, just taking a look at his options. So is he going to bother picking out a break ball right now? Is he saying, like, I'm going to leave the 4, I'm going to leave the 13, or is he just...
I don't think he's thinking about that. No.
Yeah, I mean, he has enough options where it doesn't really matter. I think he rolled a little bit farther there than he intended, but, he still has the 6 or the 1 if he can't shoot the 4. Yeah, I think he actually wanted to shoot the 4 next, a little bit, but...
easily pockets the 6 and comes back around. He'll probably shoot the 7 now, and he may begin to think about a break shot at this point. So he may be thinking about bumping the 4 ball, as it looks to me to be the 4. That's 4.
That's the 4, yeah.
So he may actually be thinking about that now.
He could be. I think he's a little bit below the angle for the 7, and so if he hits this, he's going to run into the 14. I don't think there's anything he can do about it. So he knocked it over a little bit, and he just wanted to make sure he hit it in the right place so it didn't become a problem. Like we saw Evo do a couple times to sort of bump and then create another problem. He just wanted to be really sure he wasn't doing that, so he's making a decision here between the...
He may come back and actually shoot that ball on the side, because once he does that, then his options become 3 or 4 times what they are now.
Right,
so now he just really has only the option of coming off the rail and shooting a ball from down table or shooting a ball up table from there. So he chooses to shoot the ball in the side pocket.
Right, and I wonder, the 11, maybe passes here, but he can shoot this.
I think he's just going to roll and probably get the 12. Is that the 12 at the top of the table? Probably get the 12 out of the way. And the question is whether or not the question for me is whether or not the 4 ball is in the rack now or whether it is a break shot. So beginning to think that it's a break shot. He doesn't have to hit it.
And he's just coming around here.
Yeah, so he came down and play probably the 15 in the pocket that he's looking at right now. And then he'll play the 13, 11 in the side. So the 4 is probably good.
It looks good.
Since he doesn't seem to be concerned about it at all.
Mika pretty stoic. Call him the Iceman.
So here he goes with that Mez cue, rolling it in. And then he has a perfect angle on the 11. He'll just probably move the cue ball very, very slightly.
13
ball, I'm sorry. I see the 15 in the side, 11 in the side.
Yeah, and you can see he's pretty straight on that, which is perfect. So you can just roll forward an inch or two.
He has a big angle in this ball to continue his run.
And he came up a little bit high, yep. Okay.
Well, that tells me that the fact that he didn't roll forward for the big angle tells me that this ball is very close to the rack.
Okay. So what does that mean then? Like, why does that make him want to...
Because if he rolls past it and takes the angle that he's been taking on the other break shots and breaks it, well, he's got to worry about hitting the ball in front of the ball first.
And it'll pop out and...
He may miss the ball because he
one of the balls from the rack will hit it.
It's going to be so close to the ball that he almost is looking into that ball, and he almost has to hit it first. So he has enough angle. So I'm a little bit surprised he didn't roll a little bit further.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, we have to defer to his ability
Yeah,
relative to mine.
absolutely. Yeah.
And we have to say that he knows what's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm. Maybe because it's lower, and he can just kind of come right into that second
well,
ball
he
or right in
knows-
between those end balls there.
He knows from the way the balls are breaking out what's going to happen here. So he
Mhm.
has something in mind, I think. Because it was just too easy to roll forward there, and he didn't look upset about where he was at all.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, so he's where he wants to be for whatever reason he wants to be there.
So how did you?
Although I have to tell you, it's not where I would want to be here. I would have a lot of trouble with this one because you almost have to force it forward to hit the rack, at least from the way I'm looking at it. But they have so much. The pocket looks for a player at his level. The pocket looks different to him than it would to me. So he may have all the angle he needs here to do whatever he wants.
Right. Right. Absolutely. So you've known Mika for quite a while. How did you guys get to know each other?
I met Mika through a mutual friend, Ralph Rubin, and Ralph's a great pool fan, certainly a supporter, a longtime supporter of this event. And my wife actually did Mika's first professional resume.
Pool players need a resume. What's the world coming to?
He needed a resume for purposes of working in this country, of course. And she was very good at formatting resumes, and she did do that, and we became friends. And of course, Mika has come down to this tournament, played in it many times, won it, and so I've certainly always enjoyed his company. Mika's a very outgoing personality, and certainly just one of the great pool players of all time. And
Oh, absolutely. Great competitor.
A great competitor, a great pool player, a great guy, and involved in a lot of activities, including selling me a pair of shoes that are some of the best shoes I've ever had.
All right, so we'll see how he hits this ball. And I mean, he didn't go full bore into the stack because of the angle, but he's okay here.
But he got the reaction expected. I mean, because you can see that he's not at all alarmed about any of this. He's really he figured this is what's going to happen, and he kind of played for it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a reason that we can ask him about, certainly subsequent to the match, because I'm interested in sort of knowing. But I would surmise that since the balls aren't opening the way they want on the widest angle, and they take a chance of missing a shot because they have to hit it so hard, that he's content now to play sort of what I would call old-style straight pull, which is opening up the cluster more than once.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think too many people know that Mika, in his homeland of Finland, grew up on straight pull. He didn't grow up on short rack games, and he plays a classic game of straight pull.
Mm-hmm.
It's now a combination of a power game and a classic game, but he can play classic straight pull, and that's what you're seeing here. He may go into this rack 2 or 3 times.
And
so you
man, I would kill for that stroke.
Yeah.
I mean, I hit that ball 100 times and not get that reaction. It just the smoothness in the way he hits it and where he hit the rack, and it just
he knows exactly
perfectly went through those balls.
That's exactly right.
Just really a beautiful shot.
So he's
and you see people all the time kind of hit that ball incorrectly, and they'll get stuck or won't get the reaction they want. But a lot of that is both finesse and experience, and just being a master of the game.
So here he's really relying here much more on finesse than on any other aspect of his game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So he's finessing the balls around the table, see, 1 or 2 bumps at a time. He has the ability to just go into clusters a lot of different times. And while that's different from what many fans are used to seeing primarily as a strategy for straight pull, this is classic straight pull.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't seem to love that. Left himself a long shot here in the 11.
But he's
not really a problem for Mika.
Yeah, he's very confident in pocketing here.
Problem for
me.
me.
The table's going to give him, right?
Problem for me, not a problem
no,
for Mika.
No, that shot's a difficult shot, but for him, he's, I would say at this stage of the match and his ability to play under pressure and so forth, he's not really thinking too much about pocketing balls. I mean,
no,
he's thinking about other things.
It's interesting. I don't know how much he's thinking, consciously involved in the thought process so much. And I was watching him practice the other day, and he hit a break shot. And I asked him, and I said, did you hit that with inside English? Because it surprised me. I would have hit it a different way. And he said, I'm not sure. He just got down and knew how he had to hit the ball and shot the ball that way. And it wasn't like an intellectual exercise. I'm getting down and is my arm straight? And is this straight? And is that? And he's just so solid in those things. He doesn't really have to think about it in the same way.
Well, there's some truisms in pool, and I believe one of the most important is that pool is a visual game. It's not in shooting a mental game.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us overanalyze shots.
Right.
Whereas the remarkably gifted players and shot makers, and certainly Mika's one of those, it's a visual game. He's not overanalyzing anything. He's looking at what he needs to do. He's not thinking about it. When he's thinking, it's simply about the patterns that he wants. It's not about how he's going to make the balls. He already sort of instinctively knows that.
And you see that English he put on the ball there?
Yeah,
he put just the right amount of follow on it to hit the bottom rail there,
yes.
Because had he not put that on there, he would have scratched.
Yes. And where he got a little bit of fortune was that another ball didn't kick it in, because there are 2 ways to scratch.
Right. Yeah.
The cue ball going into the pocket and the ricocheting of balls all over the table.
Right.
So there was a ricochet there to just miss that ball.
Sure. But he did hit that great.
That was a great shot. I mean, it's a great shot. That's the thing that's the difference, I think, between players who go to the world-class level and the mortals, which is that even as much as I played in practice, 30% of the shots always were hard for me and remain difficult now. Mm-hmm. And I think when we see people are lucky enough to see people like Mika, great talents like Mika and Thorsten and Darren Appleton, and you could name 20 players that were here this week that are world-class players that can run out no matter what the points to the final game were. They could run out from any part of it, capable of running 150s all day long. So I think, as we were saying, Darren, I think the essential difference there is they're not worried about making the ball. Mm-hmm. That's already sort of a foregone conclusion.
Right.
They're worried about speed and angles and all the subtleties of the game.
And there, he got really nice separation on those. And if he takes care of the 4 and 15 and 9, sort of in that order, it really won't be a problem.
So he's playing really terrific.
No, I mean, he's hitting it great. He's on a great run here. Of about 70 balls, I think.
Yes.
He's leading here 111 plus this rack to 83. And, sorry, there's a small mistake at the bottom here, but we are going to 150. So he'll need this rack. Another rack will take him to 139. And then part of the way through the third rack would be enough for the victory. But we'll have to see. I mean, playing great, but no guarantees in this game.
No, and as you can see, as you reduce, it doesn't get easier.
Right.
Because if you get out of line with all the balls on the table, you'll probably have a couple shots to choose from. If you get out of line with this many balls on the table, you may not have any shots to choose from, or a difficult shot like this one. So I suspect he'll pocket, go 2 rails, and come in for that ball.
Yeah, 15
on the
there
rail.
probably, yeah.
Yeah, he wants to get that ball off the rail so that the rail's open for the 9 ball.
Absolutely. Yeah,
So-
clearing the path to the pockets is the most important. But, I mean, the other thing here is he doesn't really have a break ball. So what does he do?
Well, we don't know that the 4's not a break ball. Is that the 4 or the 8 down there?
What,
By the side pocket?
2? The 2 hanging in the pocket?
Yeah. Is that off the rail? No.
It's off the rail a little bit.
So that was a very popular break shot.
See, look at that. He
So
just
he manufactured
makes
a break
right,
shot.
exactly. He just
So
exactly the right angle. Shot that
that.
15 ball, got in a perfect line, and then bumped that 14 just an inch and a half, 2 inches.
This is as advanced as it gets. This
Yeah.
is a lesson in.
Well, and because he hits the ball so good, that didn't look like that hard of a shot. But to get in the right line and hit that ball exactly right, I mean,
and to get the angle you need to do that,
it's
all
so
about
hard.
why he's Mika Immonen and we're in the booth.
Right, that's exactly true. Yeah, that's why his list of major titles here would take the rest of the stream. But it's interesting too. Saying he grew up on straight pool and he didn't play the short rack games, and by short rack, we mean like 9 ball, 10 ball.
Yeah. And 8 ball. He played, I'm sure he played a lot of it.
Oh no, absolutely. But
classic.
I mean, sure.
The mechanics and the stance and so forth are very indicative of the classic straight pool.
Mm-hmm. And he's won the U.S. Open 9 ball twice. So I mean, also a great rotation player.
Well,
and
there's a reason he's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, yeah, true. I mean, what you don't see as much anymore, people that can dominate all the games.
And if I'm not mistaken, he may be the second youngest to have made the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, so he was a little bit out of line on his break ball there, and then tried to follow it 2 rails and kind of clip that 1 ball.
So was Ivo on a scratch?
I don't believe so. But here Mika's going to play a safe. That's a pretty popular
so
safe.
He takes a safe. He takes a
a
scratch
foul.
as a foul. So he's lost a point from his score. He turns the table over to Ivo. And whenever you do that, the other person's in command.
Mm-hmm. And obviously Mika here with a nice lead, but
the pressure's on Ivo.
Right.
With who's now still standing at how many points?
83. So, I mean, we might see a little bit of a safety battle here.
And Mika's final score is what?
125 because he made that break ball and then took the foul, so he's back to 125.
So he needs 25 points, and
seems like we're having
Ivo
a technical
needs
sign error back there. There's the legs of our director Peter Burrows coming to the rescue on the error miss sign there. And so right here coming off the stack, not taking a foul. Just
well,
trying
no, I
to.
didn't like that shot at all.
What?
Because he has him on a foul, so he wants to.
150. He has him on a foul.
And he wants to keep him on a foul, but he's given Mika a very easy safe, and he's going to put himself in trouble because all Mika has to do is hit that ball and roll the cue ball to the end of the table. Now look how the game is all of a sudden changed. So we see the tides of fortune changing on a bad save here. Because now Ivo is in a very, very defensive position.
Being way up
And
table,
he
and
has
it's
to be
hard to
up
control
table,
the
and now
speed and not
he's
break the
gonna be-
rack. And see
Now
if
he is on.
Ooh.
Good shot.
Barely hit the rail there. But, I mean, the danger there is you don't control the speed especially well. It's
Did
hard.
the ball hit the rail?
I think it did hit the rail. I think it clipped there a little bit.
Well, we'll
but
know
we're
when it
finding
is.
out here. I mean, the danger
Because if
being...
he didn't hit the rail, Mika's going to shoot the cue ball down table.
Right. But, I
So
mean, he
Mika
might shoot this
is-
10 ball.
No, I think he's not going to do that. I think he will play safe here. And from the looks of it, he actually has an advantage in the safety battle. So he's now put... So Ivo will shoot down table the same way Mika did by hitting the 15 and rolling down to the rail. Now Mika, unless I'm mistaken here, will skim the 5 ball and go back up table himself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sort of the danger here, right, is that he kind of hit a little thick or something and pops out a ball accidentally. Is that...
That's the danger, but he really doesn't figure to do that at his level.
Mm-hmm. Does that
you know,
15 go?
well, if he's got a dead ball, that's the difference.
Yeah,
That's the way matches
you know,
are won. But
sure. And
right now, the issue is he probably doesn't, and I think he's just going to thin the 5. And my guess is, I really think he's playing. I think he's playing pretty near the top of his game, and I don't think he's going to have a lot of trouble with what he attempts to do here.
oh, so
But
he
he actually got lucky. He missed the ball because he's trying to hit it so thin, but he hit it on the way back, so it counts because the cue ball hit the rail.
right. And the question that we have here is, can Evo see the 10 ball? Can he make that ball?
I would say it's close. So
I don't know.
Think he can make it?
It's hard to tell.
So
To see what he looks like, he's shooting at it.
oh, he can make it. It appears.
Ooh.
He took a chance.
That is.
He took a chance. He knew he had some chance of pocketing, but not much.
Right.
So he hit it, and then he got good
lucky
fortune
too
because
he
he
bumped both of them
was
off
playing,
table,
right.
and so
He was playing for an angle on the 5 to break the rack, and if he doesn't hit the 5, he gives that shot to Mika.
Right, and I mean, had he even made the 10, he was shooting the 5 from here. I mean, like I'm pretty tall, and even that is a big stretch to get over all the balls like that. I mean, and we're playing here what's called all ball fouls, which how if in your local league or whatever you play, if with your hand you reach over and you touch a ball, everybody you kind of just move it back, or whatever. But here it's a scratch and a loss of turn, so you can't touch a ball. So that makes it really difficult to make that shot.
So my sense of things, and we'll know in a minute if he doesn't bring this back, is that the 13 ball, which is in the corner of your
it goes off
rack,
at 7 there.
goes off the 7. And we'll know whether that's true from the way Mika plays this shot.
Mm-hmm.
So if he gets in a position where he's going to play safe and roll down table, it's different than if he comes across to the back rail. And you notice how he played that rail?
Mm-hmm.
See, he gave him the perfect angle to come all the way across. So he
Right,
learned
so he
that
undercut that ball
he knew he could
deliberately,
hit it
yeah.
on the rail and it would go in.
Right.
So now we're going to see whether
Right,
he's going to
gonna
play
come in
13,
here,
which it appears he
15 up
is.
we'll look at that.
And he had absolutely flawless execution to get there.
Yeah.
So here he's really in pretty good shape. He doesn't appear to be overjoyed at the lay of his table, but
he's the Iceman. He doesn't appear overjoyed ever.
Once he pockets this ball, he'll have the ball in the back of the rack to go back into the rack.
Right, if that rolls a little bit more, he's got a
in
good
shape
angle.
to go wherever he wants here.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, where will he go? And the answer is, I don't know.
It seems like he might be able to just run that 11 right into the floor 115 there.
He does here.
He came back a little bit to come up for the 11.
So here he's just, again, as I said, finessing the rack. So he's not really worried because he knows he can pretty much do with the cue ball what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
There he goes back. Now this shot. So what's the cleverness here? Well, the cleverness here is he knows no matter what he does with that ball, he's going to have open shots on the 3, 9, and 8.
Mm-hmm. So he just came right up table.
Yeah, there was a lot of ways he could have
All
got anywhere that he wanted and still have open shots on the 3, 9, and 8. So
and now he's going to use this ball to just get a little bit closer and get in better line with one of those balls. Had he been in perfect alignment on that shot, he may have shot one of them.
I'm thinking he's taking the 9 ball from here, but what do I know?
He's going to run to the 8, right? Maybe bump that into the 4-1.
Yeah, I mean, somebody of his level could take the 8.
Right.
And
it looks like he's doing.
Taking,
yeah.
right. I mean, that's more of an angle than I need, but
All right.
So,
or want to take. Yeah.
So what is it? Fortune favors the brave, and he gets the 15 ball kicked out at the top of the table for pretty much an easy execution of the last 5 balls, which at that point I believe puts him into a position to win the game in the next rack.
Mm-hmm.
Unless my math is off.
I think he needs to get through one more rack, right? Is that what you said?
No, because he's at
He's at 125,
yeah,
139.
he has to get to 135 to win the game.
Yeah, that's right. So he would be in a position next rack. And that actually,
So
when
here
it's
he
a
made
big
it.
difference when you can win in the rack because then
Yes.
you don't have to worry about
Got
a break
another
ball
rack,
and
right.
stuff. You just make the balls, right?
Right, and you can then play to not leave a break ball.
Right. It doesn't matter.
Well, you
have
don't want to if you miss and your opponent doesn't have a break ball.
Right.
So he's not worried about missing at this point. He's shooting very well.
Right. And then see
And,
there. I mean,
here he goes.
he did what most people would try to avoid there, which is to kind of let the cue ball go like that 3 rails. But when you play that good,
Yes, he wasn't. He wasn't worried about. He wasn't worried about the shot, and he wasn't worried about the position.
Right.
He knew exactly.
Right.
He's
But
very
I would do everything
steady.
I could to not shoot the ball like that because.
So if I had to speculate, I would say there's a pretty good chance we're at the match's end there.
So he just needs to pocket this ball and then.
He will leave the cue ball. He might leave the
He
cue
could
ball
just
in the
leave it
rack.
right in the rack.
Yeah.
And if you leave a cue ball in the rack like that, the rule is that you take it behind the spot like you would on an 8-ball or
So
9-ball
he's
break.
thinking here.
And you could put it anywhere there. So he's just deciding if he wants to do that or not. Makes the shot a little bit longer, but, again, at his level, not a big deal. So he just wants to cinch the one, make sure he pockets that, and just kind of see.
Well,
what
he
does.
wants to end the game. I mean, he's going to do what he thinks he needs to do. So he's
I
going to
think
play
cutting
this
the
in the
side,
side,
play it
and
up and
he's
down
going
the
to draw
table.
it.
Yeah.
He's going to draw it to the side rail and come over for the 3-ball.
Yeah, he's going to go up and
Oh,
down.
there he went up and down.
Yeah.
Okay, good enough. So he
And look at
takes
that.
the wide angle and figures if. I don't think he's thinking about anything.
Yeah, no, I think
I
he's
really don't. I don't think he's thinking about needs one rack. I mean, I just think he's thinking he's going to hit this ball and continue to go.
Right, so I mean, he's at 138 now. He needs 12 more balls.
Yeah, I think we can. Even though this is a long shot and one that many of us would have difficulty with, I think I would have to, if I was a wagering person, say that it's over.
Let's see how he hits this one. So he's just taking a good look at the angle here. Just wants to make sure he cinches the break ball. Let's take a
I
look
think
at it
he's
from
going to
over
hit
here,
it.
here.
I don't think he's going to cinch it. I don't think he's going to roll it. I think he's going to nail it.
That would be Mika style. So Mika just taking a long look at this.
We have the tournament director in the room with us.
Miss Megan Ford doing a wonderful
doing
job.
a wonderful job. All
Right.
the players are happy. All
Right.
the commentators are happy.
Everybody's happy.
And there it is.
Well,
Rack's open.
he
We
didn't
need
hit.
11 balls for the match to close
And
and to bring Mika into the final 4.
yeah, and he didn't hit that one too hard.
No, but he has all the balls he needs open to
Yeah, absolutely.
pretty much get out. So we can sort of.
Said to tell you guys bye. He drew a sheet of Immonen for the first round. He plays tomorrow night, so he's out of here.
So there he goes, right into the
Ooh.
sector after 15. He came a little bit far down table, but,
he's
he
in
has
good
plenty of
hands, lucky,
shots. Yeah, he's
so
okay.
Got enough
So you
shots.
just,
Nothing's open.
Right, but if he shoots this 4, and then he can either come back 1 on the side, 9. I mean, he's got plenty of shots.
So the question is, how do you hit this at this stage?
I mean,
If you-
I stick this ball because.
Well, this is not a remarkably difficult shot, but it's not an easy shot.
Well, I
either,
mean,
'cause
under
it-
pressure for
it
the
can
match,
bounce out of the
you
pocket,
know. I
so
mean, these are not.
He's going to stroke it, I think, and hit it pretty good. Look at that.
Man.
You know, I would just have rolled it
Well, I
down the
would've
table and
stuck that
prayed
ball,
that it had enough
absolutely.
energy to get to the pocket.
Exactly.
because there's enough balls on the top rail to shoot at. But
Mhm,
he's Mika
mhm.
Immonen, and that's why he is.
Right, right. Pocket speed is for the birds.
Right. He just hit it, and he's
Right.
pretty much out.
And he's got plenty of options here. I mean, the 9 goes, the 7 goes. More than enough balls go to get him out.
So we are below 10, right?
There are 11 balls left on the table.
Yeah, but he only needs.
That's right. I think he needs 7 balls, 6 balls now.
Yeah, so now he needs 5, right? So let's figure what the 5 are.
Right. So we're pool commentators, not mathematicians.
Yeah. No, I would. No, I mean let's figure what the 5 balls are. We can do that for the fans, right?
no,
So.
no way, man. They didn't teach math in law school. That wasn't on the bar.
All right, here we go. All right.
All right. So he's just going to cut the 11 here to make sure it goes by.
So now we go.
Not a problem.
Yeah, he's going to go 14. Or is it 14 go, or is he playing the combination?
I don't think the 14 goes. I mean, I
Yeah,
think
but he's got an easy combination.
I know, absolutely. And Mika, a great kind of combinations. I watched a rudder rack and die ball yesterday. Only combinations.
So it's hard to tell what he's actually thinking about. May not have wanted. He may have. I'm sure he wanted to play the 5, but he did it anyway. So now
Right.
he is essentially has nothing to worry about because he's going to play the 9 in the side, I believe, and just draw it, and then he'll have the option of playing the 7 or the 10.
Right.
So he's very much going to win this match.
Right.
No doubt at all. In my mind.
I think he needs now he needs 4 balls.
Yeah.
Because he
so
needed 12 coming into the rack and then
so he'll go
coming in.
he'll go 10, something like 10-1-7, 10-7-1. I mean, yeah, he's really in. I would
He's
say
gonna shoot the
very
14
little,
here and come
very
back
little
out, yeah.
chance of not getting out from here.
Yeah, I think very little chance of Viva getting back
So
to
he
the
goes to
table
the
here.
7, then he goes to the 6 or the 10 or the 10 and the 1. And he's got all kinds of options, none of which are too missable for someone of his caliber.
Right, and I think here he's just gonna.
So he'll just bunt, roll to the 1, or shoot the 6 and come back for the 10. Safer to do though.
Yeah, and he just
The ball in the
glanced at
corner
the
and goes
score
for
there,
the
see how
1
many
because
he
it's
needed.
sort of natural English.
Right, and he's just
And now
gonna.
he just comes, and I think he just needs this ball for the match. I believe that's correct. If he needed 12 to start, and there's 3 on the table, I don't think we needed a.
And Mika just pausing for a second
There
to
he
cinch
goes,
this
cinch
ball,
the
and
match.
that's it.
Great play, great
and then
play.
150 for Mika Immonen.
Congratulations to both players. A
and
wonderful
Evo played
showing.
great,
Evo
but,
comes over from
know.
the Netherlands, takes a long flight,
Right.
advances to the final 8, and no shame in getting knocked out of a tournament by the great Mika Immonen.
Absolutely not, and thank you very much for tuning in. Great match.
All right, hope you all enjoyed that match here on the Billiard Channel. This is your wild boy coming at you. Special shout out to a couple people helping out with the stream. Seuss Man, Dennis, Susie, got your little donation there. Thank you, sir. And Lloyd Burmeister also sent a little bit. Help Wild Boy get to the next stop. Thank you, guys. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Also, our last, mention a couple sponsors while we're here. We have our main sponsor, Save Money, Be Energy Efficient, and GoGreen.com. Okay? Harness the power of the sun, nature, and technology. Learn about on-site, generation, and microgrids, coupled with customized conservation solutions, the future of energy. That's Save Money, Be Energy Efficient, and GoGreen.com. We want to thank our sponsor, Doug Wu, with Save Money, Be Energy Efficient, and GoGreen.com. Receive a 30% discount through federal incentives and learn how a total energy solution pays for itself and more. Visit Save Money, Be Energy Efficient, and GoGreen.com. Today, I command you, you will listen to your wild boy. And we'll play our little Diamond Billiards commercial here.
Pool halls, but then there's Diamond Billiards in Midlothian, not your typical pool hall. Diamond Billiards offers a relaxed family atmosphere for pool players of all ages and abilities. The chef and his staff prepare delicious food, and there are plenty of beers on tap. Diamond Billiards offers several leagues and lessons for players from beginning to the seasoned veteran. If you love pool and are looking for a relaxed family atmosphere, Diamond Billiards is the place for you. Diamond Billiards, not your typical pool hall. There are pool.
All right, Diamond Billiards, Midlothian, Virginia. Thank you so much for having Inside Pool here for the American 14.1 Championships. I'm glad you guys all enjoyed that match. And stay tuned for more live action from the Billiard Channel. This is Alvin with Inside Pool. It's been an honor to be with you. And see you all back tomorrow for the final 3 rounds. Peace out.